are sitting across the table from the police, and they're trying to get at a murder, and you have that shit in your brain, it is not easy to keep it in. Your dad would freak out that you just murdered somebody. You'd think he would be more understanding. I love it when cops do this. Okay, look, it's going to look so much better to the judge when you admit to doing some heinous shit. It doesn't help you at all. Gee, buddy, okay, DNA in the car, tire prints match, dust, not mud on the car, and we got you on surveillance stalking the shit out of her. Sounds kind of like murder one. You don't have to be a board-certified criminal defense lawyer to know that having a picture of him putting her up against the wall and choking her is not good evidence for Cody.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. But who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And he's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, your personal board-certified criminal defense lawyer, and I'm coming to you with my content genius that you know as Michael Rivers. Today we're reacting to Dad is Sickened by Killer Son's Confession. See, the thing about our business, this business of criminal defense, you see everything. You see absolutely everything. This is also originally published by Explore With Us, so make sure you check their channel out as well. Let's say you're in your basement and you're sitting there with your grandma and the two of you are just kind of yakking it up, and all of a sudden your son calls you, and your son is about to give a confession because he is on the hook for a homicide. What do you do? Well, you call a lawyer that has downloaded the app. He gets 3 free signatures a month, and you execute a retainer agreement remotely. It's so easy. In fact, I just did that yesterday. I sent a e-sign retainer agreement down to somebody. I put in their information, uploaded the document, and you put down the little box where you want them to sign, and it's like that. It's so easy. And not only is it easy, it's fast. So the app just sends an email to them. You get the confirmation back, and you print it out. You got the document. You don't have to do anything. So I use it on a regular basis, and you should too. Because if it's not e-sign, no one signs. All right, let's get into this. I haven't seen this, but just from the title, I mean, it's every parent's worst nightmare, right? Having a phone call in the middle of the night, it's either the cops or the jail. You have a collect call from a correctional institution. You hate getting these calls. You hate getting any kind of calls, whether it's from school or whatever. So let's just get into it.
16-year-old Michaela Constanzo left school after track practice, but never made it home. 2 days later, search teams make a haunting discovery. As investigators look deeper into Michaela's life, they discover what at first seems to be a typical teenage drama. However,
one of the first things that they look at when somebody is missing is either their internet search history, their Facebook, their Instagram, their text messages, anything that kind of gives you insight as to what they were doing up until the time that they disappeared.
The reality of the situation is far darker than anyone could have ever suspected.
It makes me so scared because I haven't seen her, since I went to Elko yesterday. It makes me really nervous because I haven't seen her and I want to make sure she's okay.
I think she's not safe because if she was, then she'd notify other people.
Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, find her, please.
The truth of what actually happened to Michaela is only revealed in a bizarre twist when a suspect unknowingly implicates themselves without realizing they're being recorded.
A lot of times people will give more information than less when they're the guilty party. And they think small details will somehow, make it more believable. But actually, it's just the opposite. Remember that Stephen McDaniel?
Parking lot area. I know they've been doing a lot of, I think that's where they had recovered the body or whatever they recovered from there.
Body?
Had you seen anything there? Do you want to sit down for a second? Get something to drink?
If you remember that case, he was talking to the reporters and had a very nervous, visceral reaction and had to fucking sit down when she said they found her.
Just for like a split second and then heard like a loud thud on the car. So I just got out know what was just done. We were freaking out. We weren't in the right mind to know what to do with anything.
Celia Constanzo begins to feel uneasy when her 16-year-old daughter Michaela doesn't message her after finishing track practice at school.
That's the other thing, is habits and routines. If they're not followed, there's generally something wrong. So, just like that, like after track practice, you didn't get a message from your daughter, because you're expecting them to be home. You're expecting them, because when you have children, you track where the fuck they are because you want to make sure.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And he's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Celia leaves work early and heads to
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And he's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
But to her dismay, she finds only her younger daughter and no sign.
What a disheartening feeling. Okay, she's not there. I can't get a hold of her. And most parents should nowadays have the Find My Friends, app, so you can find your daughter, find your son. Make sure you got a beat. And then all of a sudden, if they're not on your radar screen, for lack of a better word, then something's wrong.
That Michaela has made it home. Overwhelmed by panic, she confides in her other two daughters about Michaela being missing. Both sisters immediately join their mother's frantic attempts to reach out to their sister, but hear nothing back from her. As the news of Michaela's sudden disappearance quickly spreads within the community, numerous students from West Wendover High School join search parties to look for their missing friend. From her favorite spots in the neighborhood to messaging and calling her, Michaela's friends and family try everything, but fail to track her down. As night falls, Celia alerts the police about her daughter's disappearance. Having encountered several cases of rebellious teenagers running away from home for a while, the police decide to wait until the following morning to see if Michaela shows up at school. But when their assumption is proven wrong the next day, it reinforces Celia's belief that something horrible happened to her daughter.
And parents know their kids, generally speaking. You know your kid. Okay, she would never do this. She would never do, oh my God, she would never do that. And so the gut reaction that you have from a parent is usually a right reaction.
The police immediately begin the investigation by running a thorough background check on the family. They discover that everything was well at home and that 16-year-old Michaela was raised in a loving family alongside her two sisters, Kim and Alicia. Renowned for her athletic prowess, she stood out as one of West Wendover High School's top athletes and possessed a natural talent for writing. In an exclusive interview with Iwu, one of Michaela's closest friends talked to us about their friendship and her talents.
I guess the way our friendship developed was in middle school. We were kind of in the same friend group in elementary school. And actually, if I'm being completely honest, I thought she was very annoying in elementary school. I was not her biggest fan. She kept making fun of me for being short. And I was like, what are you talking about? You're shorter than me. In middle school, we had the opportunity to do a project together. Mickey and I got paired up together, and we very quickly realized that I was the crafty one and she was the good writer. And I did not like writing and she did not like crafting. I have, I think, the first chapter or two of the book that she shared with me. Amazing writer. I remember she shared this with me, and it had to have been in maybe sophomore year of high school. I'm the type of person who is very picky about grammar and spelling and things. So of course I'm reading it and I'm like, this is spelled wrong. And you need a period here. But
when you hear these vignettes of a life, when you wind up getting into court and you hear these victim impact stories, this is what they're talking about. And they're very difficult to listen to because it's all pain from loss.
At the same time, I was so impressed with her ability to write this book, and actually sat down and read it a few weeks ago.
At school, she'd been dating her classmate, Javier Trujillo, for a year and a half. And yet Javier had only shown up at the search parties looking for Michaela much later in the night.
So where do you think they start first? They eliminate family members, because if there's turmoil at home, blah, blah, blah. But then they go to the boyfriend. It's almost always the boyfriend. We've seen a bunch of those, haven't we? Remember the Valley boy, Yardley. Remember Yardley? I mean, he talked himself right into a conviction. So that's where the first place they start.
Investigators interview Javier to ask his whereabouts from the day of Michaela's disappearance and establish a timeline of events. The following footage has been analyzed by a qualified team, including a licensed professional counselor and a licensed attorney.
What does she go by? What's her nickname?
Like usually Mickey.
Mickey?
Yeah.
Are you her boyfriend? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, we've been like on and off for like a year and a half.
Yesterday, you seen her yesterday, right?
Yeah, the last time I saw her was during lunch.
What was going on during lunch? Where were you guys?
Well, usually like if we have good grades, we get an hour for lunch. And our lunch starts from 11:30 to 12:30. So we have an hour. And we were feeling hungry, and so I wanted to go to the taco truck. And she's like, okay. And we went, we got burritos, we came back to school, we ate them. And after a while, like, she went with her friends, and I went with mine.
That was the last time you seen her?
Yeah, that was the last.
So if he's telling the truth, then he's got an alibi, because there are people who verify that he was with them.
I'm sorry, no. We walked down the hall together after lunch, and after that, I never saw her again.
Okay.
Because we have split classes after that.
Additionally, you'd have cameras that kind of corroborate this interaction.
It's interesting that as he says that was the last time he saw her, he's shaking his head no. As he says it, he realizes that he made a mistake. This is a brain-body mismatch, much like you see in a person who is being deceptive, but the difference is he corrects himself. Typically, verbal and nonverbal communication matches, but when the brain is thinking one thing and the mouth says another, the nonverbal and verbal will misalign or mismatch altogether. When this occurs in individuals who have something to hide, they won't correct it. But when it's just a case of nerves or talking without really thinking, then the individual will often go back and correct themselves, as Javier does here.
And what did you do after school?
After school, I picked up my brother and then went home right away to go and change.
What time was that?
Like around like 3:40, 3:35.
Okay, and then what did you do after that?
After that, I went to work.
What time did you go to work?
Well, I left to work like at 3:45. Got there like about 3:50, 3:51, and clocked in like at 3:55, and I didn't get out till like 10.
Did you take?
Verifiable, because I'm sure it has worked. There are cameras there, and so if his whereabouts are accounted for, he's off the hook.
Text her or talk to her?
Yeah, no, it's because I didn't know something was going on.
Okay.
No, but yeah, like I was saying, I was working, and I guess Michaela's mom went to my house, and she told my brother, have you seen Michaela? Like, is she with your brother? And my brother told her, no, my brother's been working ever since out of school. And he went looking for me at work, and he goes, hey, is anything like wrong with Michaela? Is she alright? Because her mom went looking for her at her house, and I go, yeah, everything's fine. Why? And she goes, I don't know, like, I just have a feeling something's wrong. And then he left, and I go, like, about an hour and 30 minutes later, Michaela's mom came, and did you know a police officer named Kat?
Mm-hmm.
Or she goes by that? Yeah, they came looking for me, and they're like, hey, like, have you been hanging out with Michaela? Like, did you hang out with her after school? And I told them, no, why? And then they told me, because she's been missing. After track practice, they didn't know where she was, and
Okay.
I told them no, that I came to work, like, right at 3:45, and I didn't see her.
Do you know anybody she would have been with after track practice?
Well, usually she gets rides from track practice, or else she goes home walking. And if she gets a ride home, she gets one from. And then if she goes walking home, she goes to the back, because our school has a football field in the back, and there's a little shortcut through the right. And she goes in through there, and there's this little cul-de-sac, and she goes through there and just follows the sidewalk. Like, I don't understand if she went walking home, because
That pattern of information of where she goes and what she does is helpful to the officers. If he isn't a suspect and he's giving them good information, they can follow that track and then find out where she went from there. Because I guarantee you, in that school parking lot, there will be cameras.
it was kind of cold, and I don't know why she do that, because usually the one that gives her, like, rides, she's the one that gives them the most rides.
Is anybody else that has said they seen her after school last night?
No, just she saw her too in the locker room when.
Just in the locker room?
Yeah.
Anybody see her outside after she left? Anybody you know of?
No.
Javier's statement that he was at work while the town started looking for Michaela established a strong alibi for his whereabouts, but it was still something that the police needed to verify. As he continues to describe his relationship with Michaela, Javier reveals new details about Michaela's relationship with her mother.
So, but nobody's been talking to school that they seen her after school, outside.
After track ended and things, no, they just said they saw her like right when track ended.
How's she been acting lately?
I don't know. She's been acting pretty fine. Like, if something was wrong, she'd vent. She's not one of those girls that hides her feelings, like puts her emotions in her. She has to say what's going on. And if something was going on with her, like at home, she'd be telling like, I want to go, like I want to get out of here. I want to go somewhere else. I'm tired of my mom. Like,
so everything's been good, huh?
Yeah. And we haven't had any problems since like.
So what have you been hearing? What do you think's been going on? Do you think that she?
I think like, I don't know.
Has she ran away before?
Yeah, she ran away once, but.
When was this?
It was, I'm not sure. I think last year. But.
So somebody running away is a big deal in a case like this, but you don't want them to stop looking. So the information that he's giving with patterns and possible alternative scenarios, I think is important. But that's not, I don't think he's our suspect.
But when she ran away, she notified me and her friends.
Where'd she
left me a voicemail to her friends right next door to me. And she left me a voicemail and she goes, hey, I'm running away from home because I feel like pressured right now. Like my mom and DJ are screaming at me. So if you're like looking for me, I'll be at. And
that was the end of that.
Yeah, that was the end of the voicemail. And then in the morning after that, I was feeding my dogs and I saw her with. So I was like, okay, everything's okay.
Knowing she'd run away before reassured officers that this was likely what had happened again, but she hadn't ever gone away for this long without informing anyone. What had changed this time?
Do you have any questions for me?
Like, what have you guys like been trying to do? Like, do you guys have like airplanes, people like search parties and things like that?
Yeah, we're getting another search party ready right now. We're gonna go out. We do have airplanes that we've been up all day looking today.
Yesterday, I tried getting an EO from work because I was scared. And
yeah, everybody was out looking last night, and it wasn't very organized.
So he seems like he's giving pretty genuine concern. So I don't think he's our suspect.
Organized the people we're looking, and we're trying to get everybody on the same page now. So yeah, we're doing. I'd like to say we can do more, but we're doing everything we can right now.
I got out at 10 yesterday. Went looking for her. Didn't finish until like 2. I went to Ford Tunnel to the back of the school where like 3 miles in. I couldn't find anything. I just think that she's like in someone's house or.
You think somebody's house?
Yeah.
You think she's safe in somebody's house, or do you just?
I think she's not safe because if she was, then she'd be like, she'd notify other people.
She'd call or something?
Yeah, she'd call like, don't tell my mom that I'm over here with this friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
After collecting a statement from his brother, the investigators are able to establish a solid alibi for Javier. This firmly established that Javier played no part in Michaela's vanishing and eliminated any suspicion surrounding his involvement.
So even though he's eliminated as a suspect, the domestic partner is almost the very first person that they turn to.
Moreover, while Michaela's family admits to events in the past when she ran away, they insist that she was always responsible and would always inform her siblings about her whereabouts. Before conducting interviews with any of Michaela's friends, the investigators analyze her phone records to speak with individuals whose numbers were recorded in the calls and messages on the day she disappeared.
When you look at someone's digital footprint online, whether it's the cell phone records, the text messages, or Facebook, you can also get the cell towers where their phone is pinging off of. And you put all that together, you can paint a picture as to what this person was going through just before they disappeared.
One particular number stands out in the list. This individual had made repeated efforts to reach out to Michaela through a series of text messages and phone calls on the day she disappeared. The number belonged to one of Michaela's schoolmates, Cody Patten. As the investigators dig into Cody Patten's history, they find out that his relationship with Michaela traces all the way back to their childhood and the apartment complex where Michaela lived with her family. Since the complex is managed by Cody's parents, he spent much of his childhood there and grew up with Michaela. Over the years, they developed a deep friendship, but had drifted apart in high school. As they delve deeper into Cody's background, they uncover that he is quite popular and a top player in the school's baseball team. But he also carried a bad reputation for dating many girls at school and reportedly cheating on them. However, it appeared that in recent years, Cody, at the age of 18, had ultimately found a steady and enduring relationship with the 18-year-old Toni Fratto.
Toni looks like she's pissed off. But is she going to be his alibi?
A fellow student at West Wendover High School. Despite the skepticism of many schoolmates about this odd pair, given Cody's popularity and Toni's reserved demeanor, the couple remained unfazed and deeply in love with each other. In fact, Cody had been living with Toni and her family after he had a major fallout with his father a few months ago.
You know, I don't know if that's right or not. You know, I've heard about that happening, you know, taking kids in like that. And I've done that before. And all of a sudden that kid was totally lying to me the whole time. But teenagers have more trouble, more angst. And it's just, we'll see what happens here.
He actually proposed marriage to Toni soon after, leading to their engagement, which left the school community shocked by the unexpected news. Yet there's a certain detail that raises suspicions. Cody had a brief relationship with Michaela before eventually committing to Toni. This was years ago, and both had mutually parted ways, so why had he then sent messages to Michaela and called her? The investigators bring Cody in for an interview and ask him about his whereabouts on the day of Michaela's disappearance.
Yesterday about 3 o'clock, what time school get out?
3:30.
3:30. About 3:30, what were you doing about 3:30?
Cody clearly looks nervous, but it's not clear if the investigators did any rapport building with him, which would help make him feel more comfortable. Cody is fidgeting and picking at his thumbs and fingers, which is an anxiety response, but you would expect this if the investigators went into immediate questioning with no rapport building or general questions first.
I went from Mr. Violamont, my math teacher, Mr. Lee.
Okay.
Now, let's say that Cody's is the main suspect. We don't know that yet, but let's say that he is. You have no business talking to the cops if you really know that you've done something. But what does that do when you refuse to answer questions? It raises the concerns of the officers, and they probably focus on him even more.
Okay.
I went from his class about, I'd say about 3:20 or so. I went to welding shop, talked to Lobato. I was in there for a few minutes, and I left his class. Can't remember what I did. And I went back, and I was talking to him again for a few minutes.
Back to Lobato or back to Mr.
Back to Lobato. And then at the end of school, I walked out, and as I was walking past, I saw Michaela, and I said hi. I don't know her, and she said, "What?"
Where'd you see her at?
At her locker. On the long hall.
Okay.
Right, kind of where Lobato's class is. And she goes, "What?" And I stopped and turned around so she knew I was talking to her, and I said, "Oh, I'm just saying hi." And then she goes, "Where were you at?" And I pointed, and I said, "I was in Lobato's class." She goes, "Oh, okay."
And this is what time, you think?
About 3:30 something.
Okay.
32, I don't know. And I went outside, and I left.
You left to what?
To go home.
While recounting his day, Cody uses a lot of and then statements.
I went to, and then she goes, and I went outside, and then.
This is generally a red flag, as sometimes people use and then statements when they're intentionally leaving out chunks of their story, as it allows them to jump to the point. Overall, his story is very choppy, and he seems to lose his place and stumble a bit, which is strange for what should be a simple and fairly straightforward day.
It's not simple and straightforward if what you're trying to cover up is where the fuck you were when you were beating and killing somebody.
What were you leaving in?
My friend Wendy's car. It's a Trailblazer.
What color is it?
White.
That's a white Trailblazer?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was probably half brown. It's all dirty.
Okay. Why is it all dirty?
I have no idea. That's how she gave it to me.
Okay.
Because I was borrowing it today. Or yesterday.
After describing some of the events of his day, Cody explains why he'd called and messaged Michaela.
I had texted Michaela and asked her if she could help me, no answer. And so I called her and no answer. And
Help him do what?
she called me back, and I had left my phone in the car when I was getting some of the parts and stuff. And then I called her back, no answer. So I was like, okay. So I texted her and I said, hey, what are you doing? And she goes, I'm in practice right now. And I said, oh, okay. Well, when does it get over? She was about 5 or so, and I said, okay. And then
This conversation is critical. And it's critical because it's giving him knowledge of where she is and what time she's going to be available.
was loading up the rest of the stuff, and it was about, I don't know, about 4.
There is a really long pause in Cody's recollection here, which is a change in his speech pattern so far, given that he has answered everything else fairly quickly. This will no doubt raise red flags about him searching for the right answer versus the honest.
So let's see. Let me think. Okay, before I killed her and after I killed her. I mean, everybody thinks that they're so slick. You know, I could talk my way out of this or that. When you are sitting across the table from the police and they're trying to get at a murder and you have that shit in your brain, it is not easy to keep it in.
One. If he'd taken this long earlier when it would have been innocuous, then we might just assume he has a memory issue with time. But he didn't. Note the other times Cody takes long pauses.
About that time, Michaela called me back, and I called her again because I didn't have my phone. And then she answered, and I said, so can you come help me? And she goes, give me just a second. I just got in the locker room. I'll get ready, and I'll call you back. I said, okay. I don't know how long later, and then she called me back.
Was that on a text or for the phone?
Phone.
Okay.
And so she called me back. I don't know how long later, and then I said, "Can you come help me?" And she goes, "I can't. I have to go home. I have to go to the to go work out or something at 8:30, and I don't know." And her mom was picking her up at 5.
Okay.
And I said, "Okay, no worries." And I asked her if she was okay, because she had a weird tone of voice, kind of like an indifferent, like, I don't know, sad, mad type. And I was like, "You all right?" She goes, "Yeah, just fine." I was like, "Okay, no worries." And I hung up and continued to get stuff done.
Cody continues to narrate the rest of his evening, informing the detectives that he picked up Toni from a golf course at 7, and then they got drinks from a McDonald's drive-thru. Soon after, both had been informed by their classmates about Michaela's disappearance, and they joined the search parties immediately. However, Cody reveals one shocking detail that reverses everything that the investigators had found out so far.
I left, and then...
So you didn't see her at all?
I saw her after school. That was it.
By the walk?
Yeah.
Other than that, you didn't see her at all?
You cannot take away the autonomic responses that your body has when you're telling a fucking lie to the cops about something as serious as this, because you know what the consequences of this are. That's why a lie detector is a good measure of somebody's telling you. They're not admissible in court generally, but they're a good measure of what your body's doing as you're speaking. And your body is got its own way of thinking or reacting to the stress.
I saw her leave the school when I left.
When did you leave?
5:30.
You seen her leave the school?
Yeah.
Where was she leaving from?
She was going out the front. She was standing there talking to somebody when I left. And then there was a Mexican kid and one of the...
How sure you were it was her going out the front?
Positive.
As he says positive, Cody slightly shakes his head. Just like Javier, this could be a sign of nervousness at the situation, not deception. But unlike Javier, Cody's blink rate also increases.
It's positively her. What was she wearing, you know?
Jeans and a gray sweater.
Okay. Anything else? So where were you at when you seen her going out?
When I was going up the, I guess you call it the turnpike leaving school.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. She was standing.
You were driving?
Yeah. When she was standing by the door. And then
You're Is it positive it was her?
Yeah.
Cody had seen Michaela speak with someone at the school's front door. The investigators continue their line of questioning to get as much information about Michaela and this strange individual who may have played a role in her disappearance.
So the first time you seen Michaela was at the lockers. That was approximately what time?
Right after school, about 3:32, 3:35.
No.
Now keep in mind, I guarantee you, before this interview, the cops have already looked at all the surveillance. So if something he's saying isn't matching up with the surveillance, that puts a big red flag on Cody.
Last time you seen her was,
About 5:30.
and that was where
At school.
she was with somebody.
Just some. I thought it was her boyfriend because it was a short
Her
Mexican.
boyfriend being Javier.
Yeah, I thought it was him, but it's just some short Mexican kid. But everybody said he went to work right after school. So
But you're positive she was out front.
yeah, for sure.
What did she have on? You said she had on what, jeans?
Jeans and a gray sweater.
Anything else with her?
She had a black, like a handbag backpack type thing, and it looked like it was either striped or had paint on. I don't know. It was either striped or polka dot. I don't know, but it was black.
Anything else with her? What color shirt she have on?
I couldn't tell. I could just tell she had a big sweater on, a big like gray one, a hoodie style. But other than that, that's about it.
As Cody continues to describe everything he'd witnessed, he dishes out further information that raises concerns about Michaela's well-being.
That was about 5:30.
Yeah.
Anything else you can think of that I haven't asked that maybe I should know that you think's relevant?
A while back, I can't remember exactly how long back. One time she was walking through the hall and she looked like she was pretty upset. She wasn't crying or nothing, but you could, like her eyes were red and looked like she'd probably been crying or something.
As he shares this new detail, Cody shows more signs of his anxiety as he starts to rapidly blink.
That day I saw her up where the V is at in our front of our school, where the two walkways are on the left side, talking with our boyfriend and arguing, and then for at least a week they didn't really say nothing to each other, and then at least just
How would he know that? How would he know that she and her boyfriend didn't talk at all that week? When she and Michaela, or when he and Michaela are not, together and in constant communication.
they didn't, and seemed like they're at least at school they didn't, and seemed like they're.
Or is that him projecting?
There was a basketball game going on, so I don't know, maybe 2-3 weeks ago. Maybe it was probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, actually. Because I just
Do you
barely.
think your boyfriend might have been, he has something to do with this, is what you're trying to say, or?
No, I just trying to throw, like you said, throw relevant stuff out there.
During an interview, investigators pay close attention to how a person behaves, reacts, or responds to questions. They often look for a cluster of behaviors, such as the ones that Cody just displayed by rapidly blinking, swallowing deeply, sniffing, and making a tongue click noise. The click.
Body language experts are absolutely amazing. It's not really a science, it's kind of more of an art, it seems. But, and unfortunately, I don't think it's, unfortunately or fortunately, person who's an expert in body language come in and say, well, he's lying because of this. That just wouldn't be allowed in court.
Could be due to him having a dry mouth from anxiety, as that's a normal part of the stress response. A cluster of behaviors can consist of multiple actions or responses that, when taken together, suggest a particular state of mind, such as nervousness or anxiety. A cluster often...
And anybody would be nervous in this situation. Just the sheer fact that your friend is missing would be enough to create that anxiety.
Combination of 3 or more signs of deception, such as inconsistent statements, avoidance of certain topics, changes in body language, or other indicators that a person may be withholding information or lying. Nonverbal communication cues like facial expressions, gestures, posture, and eye contact are also considered when assessing a cluster of behaviors.
One of the biggest ones that I look for is inconsistent statements. When you have an inconsistent statement, you can generally use those to impeach a witness.
It's important to note that the interpretation of a cluster of behaviors should take into account the specific circumstances, the individual's baseline behavior, and other factors, such as culture and mental health and context. What might be suspicious behavior in one context may be perfectly normal in another. As well, a cluster of behaviors is also not definitive proof of guilt. Instead, it guides investigators in their decision-making process and can be used to develop additional areas of inquiry or obtain additional evidence.
So then that, what do you think? What's your opinion?
Honestly, I hope she just got in a fight with her boyfriend or mom or something. It's just
This quick movement might be the most revealing of all so far, as Cody breaks from his baseline behavior. The idea of baseline behavior refers to the typical or normal behavior of an individual when they are not under stress, lying, or experiencing unusual circumstances.
But here's the deal. This is a girl that he knows. This is a girl that's in his class. Of course, if he's not the killer, you'd still be upset about it. But is he the killer?
It serves as a reference point that an investigator can compare the person's behavior to during the interrogation. Understanding an individual's baseline behavior is essential in actual decryption of behaviors because it helps investigators identify potential deviations or anomalies that may suggest deception or discomfort. Up to this point, Cody hasn't moved too much or shown much emotion, but here, along with more rapid blinking, Cody rubs at his eyes and pinches his mouth closed, which together all seem to signal that he has some growing anxiety and stress about this subject in particular.
at a friend's house or something.
Understand. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, find her, will you?
Police begin to wonder if they dismissed Javier too soon and meet with him again the same day to verify his whereabouts. When
You would think before they would meet with any of these people that they would have looked at all the video first, but sometimes it's not. You need to find her fast, and might not be feasible to get the footage.
up Cody's name, Javier shares new concerns.
They haven't talked for like about 3 months, and it's kind of strange that yesterday she got text from him and he went up to her and he told her, hey, can you come and help me do something in the welding shop because I need help? And
that sounds weird too, doesn't it? I mean, what the fuck help could, why would he go? Why would he seek her help in the welding shop? Does that make any sense?
I don't know why he'd ask her that.
That's the biggest red flag that I see.
I think he I shouldn't say stalk, but
He's been doing that. How long has this been going on that he's been stalking her?
No, I don't know. It's because they used to have a relationship before I was with her, and yeah, I don't know.
As Javier says this, he does a lip compression, lip licking, a bit of a bigger breath, and almost seems to lose his train of thought for a minute. This cluster of behaviors could indicate that he has some disdain or dislike for this topic of Cody and Michaela dating previously.
Okay, no. But he tries to give her problems, and usually they try to ignore each other. And if they talk, they have attitude towards each other. They get mad right away.
So this sort of sets a tone for the relationship between Cody and Michaela.
While it was evident that the boys didn't get along, confirming their accusations against each other was crucial. To validate the details, investigators visit Javier's workplace to check the surveillance footage, which definitely showed that he had left his workplace at 10 p.m. and had been working consistently until then. Michaela's mother, Celia, also corroborates his statements of her reaching out to him while looking for her daughter. As the investigators find no cause to doubt Javier's intentions, they once again strike his name off the list. To verify Cody's statements, the investigating team schedules an interview with Cody's fiancée, Toni Fratto, and her statements add an unexpected twist to the case.
And then about 5:30, he texted me and said that he was home and he's gonna.
About what time?
About 5:30.
Okay, he texted you? You saw that text?
I don't.
Okay, he texted you and said he was home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this just happened a day ago. Why wouldn't you still have the text?
Right after she answers about no longer having the text message, Toni does some interesting lip compressions and lip licking. Something about that answer seems to have not sat well with her.
And he said he was gonna work on some of those parts and work on his RC cars and everything.
Okay.
So, okay. And then we were texting, we're planning to go do something, get out of the house. And so he came and got me about 7 o'clock from the golf course. That's where they're holding the meeting.
How many times did he text you between 5 and 7?
Maybe 10, 15 texts.
Okay. So at 7 o'clock, what did you guys do?
We went and got drinks at McDonald's and then just sat in McDonald's for a little while, talking and everything. Yeah. And then that's about the time maybe we sat there close to 45 minutes or whatever, just talking and everything. And that's when we started getting like texts and calls and asking if we'd seen Michaela, and I said, we haven't seen her at all. And so after about like 5 calls or whatever, we're like, okay, something's going on. So we went and drove around, see if we could see her or anything.
Can you recount where you drove around?
We started over by the school, kind of.
Now, everything that you say is trackable, right? Well, give me your phone because we're going to track where you were. Super easy. So if anything you're saying doesn't comport with what the facts are, you're fucked.
Hands in storage.
Back at the school, Cody was texting, calling somebody. Do you know of?
Don't know.
Did he ask anybody to come help him with anything?
I know he was was trying to get a hold of Mickey, but I don't know if she did or not. Cause
did he tell you he was trying to get a hold of Mickey?
He did tell me that he was trying to get a hold of her, but every time he called or text, she wouldn't reply or didn't answer.
What did he want to do? What did he want her with her?
I think just to load in the heavy metal or whatever, so she could grab one and he could grab the other. But I don't know if that happened.
So why not call his own girlfriend? You know, why not ask a buddy? Why ask Michaela? That doesn't seem right. Now, she's in communication with him, right? Let's say she knows. She knows what happened, but she is trying to cover for him. I'm not saying that that's the case, but that happens from time to time. That's aiding an offender after the fact. And generally speaking, your guidelines for aiding an offender is half of what the guidelines are. So if it's 180 months for unintentional murder too, then it would be like 75 months or 80 months.
It appears that the way that Toni expresses her inward anxiety is through lip compression and licking. This is a red flag that she's hiding something, or she knows more than she's letting on, especially following her saying, "I don't know."
Well, how would you say that you and Mickey get along?
We say hi once in a while. We don't really talk. I don't know Mickey very well.
I don't really like her because she used to do my boyfriend, and she's prettier than me.
As a person, I don't have anything against her, no.
Not only is there an upward inflection in her voice, but Toni avoids answering the question here, while also not outright lying. By saying as a person, she's completely rephrasing what the detective is saying. She's not admitting that she has a problem with her, but goes around it in a really odd way. The original question was, do you care for her? So Toni has avoided directly saying yes or no.
Did her and Cody have a relationship prior to you?
I believe so, like a really long time ago.
And you don't have any hard feelings towards her? Or if people said you hate her, that's not the case?
No, not at all.
Even after being asked multiple times, Toni is consistent with the timeline of events. Starting from their visit to McDonald's, their search for Michaela, and the subsequent trip to Cody's cousin's place to return his friend's car. Toni substantiates every detail, including the specific locations they scoured while searching for Michaela. Additional members of the search team also support this account, affirming that they witnessed the couple's efforts to locate the missing teenager within the town. The situation looked nothing beyond regular teenage drama, and the investigating team crosses off Cody's name from their suspect list. It's now March 5th, 2 days since Michaela's sudden disappearance, and the investigators remain empty-handed, devoid of suspects or fresh leads to propel the case forward. Just then, an unexpected twist changes the entire course of the investigation. A distressing phone call reaches the investigators from an employee working at a local mining company in West Wendover. He recounts seeing a set of tire tracks turning into an otherwise desolate patch of the desert while he drove back to West Wendover. He shares that he had followed the tracks into the desert and saw what looked like blood splattered onto the ground and the rocks.
So now it's time to get out the forensic wagon, and you'll take some tire impressions, and they can kind of match up tires, take the DNA off of the blood that they find, and start doing some digging.
Recognizing the gravity of his discovery, he had now called the police to relay this ominous find. In this never-before-seen eerie video, the police arrive at the desert location and quickly uncover the tire tracks, as well as the blood splatters the caller had reported.
It's a very shallow grave. Very shallow.
The shallow grave in the desert confirms their worst fears. As soon as the officers notice human flesh, they call the forensics team to assist them in retrieving the body and the samples.
When you get the forensic team there, they want to preserve everything they possibly can. Preserve the hands. They usually put bags over the hands, and that's because if there's any defensive wounds on whoever, the DNA sometimes gets of the attacker is sometimes under the fingernails of somebody who's been attacked. There's all kinds of other things that they're going to look for. And so it's really important that they preserve all the evidence that they find.
It's Michaela Constanzo. The apparent cause of her death was a profound wound on her throat. Her hands were bound with zip ties.
Bound with zip ties, profound wound on her throat. Sounds personal.
While the zip ties suggested a potential kidnapping, the investigators remain uncertain about who might have had motives to abduct her and why. Their focus pivots to the mine worker who'd originally reported about finding the grave in the desert, but they find no evidence to incriminate him or any suspicious person in the desert who may have been involved. With no leads to verify, the police circle back and request the school to provide their surveillance tapes from the day of Michaela's disappearance, in the hopes that they will find something or someone they might have missed.
As she leaves the school, the last person that is seen with her is going to be the first person they want to talk to.
The CCTV footage exposes a disturbing reality that changes everything. In the footage, they see Michaela in the hallway at the end of the day and someone following her. But it isn't her boyfriend Javier, as Cody Patten had suggested. It's Cody himself. On the day that Michaela went missing at 5:41 p.m., Cody walks by the school's locker room for the first time. At 5:44 p.m., he exits and re-enters the school from the back door and goes back to the locker room. 10 minutes later, he walks by the locker room and continues to pace there. At 6 p.m., investigators watch Michaela leave the school, and shockingly, Cody follows her.
So now we've got an inconsistency in Cody's story. And you see him kind of laying in wait for her and kind of walking back and forth. And that can be evidence of premeditation.
During his interview with the investigators, Cody claimed that he witnessed Michaela along with another person at the school's entrance. However, the surveillance video contradicted this statement entirely.
Why the fuck would you say that? You know, why would you say anything at all? If you did this, you shouldn't be telling the cops anything, because you tell them that you saw her with somebody down the hallway. It's so easily contradicted with surveillance.
Instead, the investigating team see Kody exiting the school through the back door at 6 p.m., which differs from his earlier statement of leaving school at 5:30 p.m. The investigators speak with Kody's parents to find out more about their son's whereabouts. They confirm meeting Kody and their family that night, but do flag their concerns about his friendship with the person who lent their car to Kody.
Tell us about her or what you know about her, if you don't mind.
She's creepy.
Yeah. She's what?
Creepy.
Creepy.
She used to be their dance teacher before they were in kindergarten. Both of our kids.
When they were 4 years, no, 8. Four, yeah.
Does she regularly let the kids drive her vehicle?
Yeah, all kids.
Everybody.
Remarks from Kody's parents had sparked significant apprehension regarding this person, who frequently allowed teenagers.
Why would somebody of that age let somebody else borrow their car?
Frequently allowed teenagers like Kody to use their car.
Let me think about this. You think she's banging Kody? Maybe.
To gather additional information about who had access to the car and their locations on the day of Michaela's murder, the investigating team interviews this individual.
So when was the next time you had contact with Kody, whether it was in person or calls or texts or?
Texting throughout the day. You know, we were going to go to Metro after school. He said, no, I've got to hurry and get this stuff done. And then about
We're going to go to Metro after school. You got somebody that's, what does she look like? Probably 30? And what is she doing hanging out with students? That's usually a recipe for disaster.
6, I'm like, I need my car. I'm not done yet.
That's all you would say?
Yeah.
What else do you think you text back and forth?
Just
I'm not done yet. I've got a shovel in my hand, and it's not deep enough yet.
hurry, I need my car, you know, nothing. And he didn't seem irritated or anything. It was just normal conversation.
When you let him have the car, you say about noon, what condition was it in? I mean,
Well, the night before there was that flash rainstorm, and I was at Smith's. And so it basically washed everything off that was there before, you know, so it was clean from the rain.
When you got it back, what did it look like?
It was dusty.
So what does that tell you? She's in the desert. She's buried in the desert.
The police find out that Kody had been the only person she'd lent her car to on that day. Adding to the intrigue, a distinctive detail about the car emerges, one that sharply contrasts with Kody's narrative. This individual recalls that the car was covered in dust when Kody returned it, while Kody had stated that he'd received the vehicle in that condition. However, Toni contradicted both of these accounts in her statement.
So you seen the vehicle at about 4:50?
Yeah.
What condition was the vehicle in? Was it clean?
Yeah.
Was it dirty?
Not that I noticed. I mean, there was a few, like, dirt or whatever from, like, the metal because it'd been laying on the ground or whatever. But that's
The
all
outside
I
wasn't
noticed.
dusty? There was no mud on it? Or
Not that I noticed, no.
Okay, when he got you at 7 o'clock, did you see the vehicle?
Yeah,
What did it look like then?
the same.
It wasn't dusty or anything?
Mm-mm.
The varying descriptions concerning the car's condition raised serious doubts about Kody's involvement in the crime. In pursuit of substantial evidence against him, the team takes custody of the vehicle for analysis and speaks with his classmates, friends, and teachers. In the course of these never-heard-before interviews, the investigators come across astounding testimonies regarding Kody's attitude, as well as an unsettling rumor that had been making its way around the school.
He is a person who is aggressive and he does have a temper. And they were telling me earlier that I think she's afraid of him because I think he does abuse her. I'm pretty sure he's hit her before.
But she's never told you that?
No. But they said they told me they had tape of him choking her against the wall.
So when you
Now, you don't have to be a board-certified criminal defense lawyer to know that having a picture of him putting her up against the wall and choking her is not good evidence for Kody.
you say he has a temper, have you ever seen the temper?
I haven't personally. I don't think I've seen him like be angry and storm off, but I've never seen him like take it out on anybody or anything. I just seen him like disappear.
Shockingly, beneath the facade of a happy couple, Cody and Toni were grappling with issues. Their seemingly harmonious relationship exposed a dark side when a heated argument between them in the school's locker room was caught on surveillance camera, an incident that a staff member at the school further elaborated on in his interview with the police.
You never put your hands on a woman. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. There's just no reason to. There's no reason. If you're angry, if you're so fucking angry that you got to put your hands on a woman, guess what you do? You cool off, you walk away, you go for a run. You get that energy out, and then you come back and have a rational discussion. Period. End of story.
Anything we haven't asked about we should know about?
I don't know. Cody seemed, just after the semester ended, which was in January, I mean, he seemed a little distracted that he got kicked out of my weights class. And I don't know if things in his life are just kind of piling up or what, but he would show up in the gym every now and again, and I would kick him out. And that's kind of where this all started, when I didn't even really ask him why he was here at the school that night, because our relationship's kind of confrontational sometimes, and so I just really didn't want to get involved in that area of it.
So that puts some character evidence about Cody front and center.
Mm-hmm. And so that's why that night I wish, I look back now and wished I would have said something to him, but I mean, he just didn't really act like he was mad at anything that night. I mean, he put the keys in his mouth, and he did his, I still see it to this day, how he looked, but I mean, it just didn't look like he was mad at something or somebody. Mm-hmm. And of course, I'm not sure what happened from that point on, but.
Why did he get kicked out of the class?
Because of the relationship between him and Toni turned bad, so to speak, and so they wanted to keep that.
Because the relationship between he and Toni turned bad. Now, generally speaking, character evidence of the accused is not admissible in court unless the defense offers some evidence of peacefulness or some other character traits. Then the state can come in and rebut those. But generally speaking, the character of the defendant is not coming in. However, prior acts of the defendant do come in. Prior assaults, prior relationship evidence between the parties. That is fair game.
I'm separated as much as possible.
So Toni was in the weights class?
Yes, she was with him that semester.
And so what class did he go to?
It was a credit recovery class to try and see if he can get graduated this school year, because he had some classes that he had failed in the past that he was trying to make up credit for.
Okay. And when you say the relationship between them went bad, what do you mean?
He got a little. I'm not sure all the details, because of course they don't disclose too much to us. But apparently the administration was just trying to keep those two apart as much as possible, because I guess he got a little bit of violent toward her a couple of times.
Okay. And so you never saw any problems?
Not between those two, no.
So if you're litigating this case ahead of time, you'd file a motion with the court to keep the violent or whatever encounters between he and Toni out, for sure.
Clearly, Cody had anger issues and often resorted to violence. One of his friends had tried to warn Michaela about it as well.
The last guy just asked Michaela, is Cody trying to talk to you again? He's like, she said, yeah, and I'm like, well, you probably shouldn't. It's bad news. He's his girlfriend, that basically is what I said. Mm-hmm. And that's about it.
Okay.
So that's a bad fact for Cody, that he's trying to get in touch with Michaela again.
So you and her were texting back and forth?
For a little bit.
Okay. Did she mention to you what he was texting her about, or what she was talking? No?
She said she told him to leave him alone before her. That's what she said to me.
To you? She told you that? Okay. You told Michaela that...
He's bad news, but he's good.
Okay. Why is that?
Just because, I don't know, he's kind of two-faced, I guess that would be the best way to put it.
Okay.
The situation became increasingly alarming when both this friend and his mother reported similar instances of violence and manipulation involving Cody.
I think I was talking to one of the other teachers or talking to the vice principal, and it was about certain behaviors with Cody. I had huge issues because it had finally gotten to a point where he quit hanging out with him because he was doing ridiculous stuff, things that are maniacal. He burned my son with a piece of metal and then tried to play it off like it was an accident.
In school?
No. His parents own a shop, and we were soldering a battery cable together, and he's like, is this hot? Touch me with it. Burn me out. No, it's not hot.
Nice.
These disturbing descriptions show some potential signs of serious mental health struggles along the lines of conduct disorder and its adult relative, antisocial personality disorder. Frequent outbursts of anger and aggression when faced with obstacles or not getting their way, even in minor situations, can be a big cause for concern.
We call that a low frustration tolerance. And, just because you can't get your way doesn't mean you get to act out and put your hands on people. And this sounds like that's where this is going.
The red flag is when this behavior goes beyond occasional frustration. Deliberately causing harm to others, whether physically or emotionally, is another significant red flag, as well as an apparent absence of empathy or remorse for the pain and suffering they inflict.
So whether you're a narcissist or you have narcissistic personality disorder, or whether you're a sociopath, those kinds of people do not give a shit about what other people think. They don't care about the feelings. They only care about their own immediate needs or their perceived needs. So when you've got a guy that's like this, it sounded like he was just going off the rails at this point.
A tendency to lie, manipulate, or deceive others for personal gain is also common in individuals with antisocial personality disorder. So is struggling to form and maintain healthy relationships due to their aggressive and manipulative behaviors. Many individuals with conduct disorder display these behaviors in childhood or adolescence. Identifying such issues at a young age is essential for intervention and treatment.
And let me just tell you this. There ain't a whole lot of fucking treatment for narcissistic personality disorder or for being violent, And so whether you're male or female, there's absolutely no reason for you to put up with any kind of physical harm, period. The only thing I can say is I've handled a lot of domestics over the years, and the guys who are, and it's almost always men, and it's just, they never take accountability, and they're always cheap, first of all, but they are just, nothing is ever their fucking fault. It's always the other person's fault. You try to get them into some anger management programs, they get kicked out because they just don't like to hear what they had to say, and this is bullshit, And so it's like, fuck, Judge, I can't put him in anger management. Well, why not? Because it'll piss him off.
If these behaviors persist into adulthood and are not simply a phase of adolescence, it may suggest a more serious underlying condition, like antisocial personality disorder.
No treatment for antisocial personality disorder. All these things are like basically sociopathic type behaviors. And those types of behaviors, you can't make somebody have compassion for other people. And you can't teach that.
Well, and then he took his phone one night because his phone had broken.
Let me tell you.
This was it for me. I was like,
What happened was I went to their house. I've been in their house like 2-3 times. And I was there once, and I was in their living room the entire time. I came back out, and they told his older brother that I'm not allowed to hang out there anymore. And I was like, what did I do? And apparently it's because I stole money. And I was like, I don't even know what money you're talking about. And when we were in class one day, because he came in to see Toni, he's like, because this is his old phone. And he's like, can I see my old phone? He was looking at it and whatnot. He's like, when are you going to give me $30 for this? I'm like, you said you're letting me borrow it, until he got around. And he took it, and I was on the computer playing guitar. This was my guitar class. And he apparently sent a text to himself saying that I basically admitted for it, like that I stole the money. And I was like, really? Are you kidding me?
And it was his older brother that said, hey, had he borrowed your phone anytime recently? And was like, had to think about it, yeah. And he's like, oh, because check it out. This is what he did.
It's like, it doesn't seem like you texting. He's like, I don't know how you text,
And my son may be a lot of things, but he is not a teen.
Have you ever seen Cody violent? You said you and him almost got into it.
Oh.
And that's the other thing. People who are sociopaths, they always gaslight the other party. Oh, it's you doing this. And really, they're just projecting.
A couple times we have. I almost got in a fight with him 3 or 4 times. Mm-hmm. One time I was at the shop. He threw a blow at me, and then I went underneath him. I picked him up, slammed him on the ground. I was like, you need to knock your stuff off before I kick your butt. Mm-hmm. The last most recent circumstances, they were out. Me and a couple of my buddies were out, and they were all drinking and whatnot. And I was like, I'm not doing this because they're acting ridiculous. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, I'm not getting in trouble. And so I said, I'm walking home. And it was like 10 or 11 at night, and I was like, I'm walking home, and he's like, why are you being? And he's going off, he's all mad because I'm leaving, and we're yelling in each other's faces, and I'm like, I'm sick of your crap, and we're sitting there, and then he comes up, he's like, well, I'm sorry, and he just walks off.
That's the other thing. A lot of outbursts followed by an insincere apology.
Last time, and I was like, I'm not dealing with this crap no more.
Because of his controlling and erratic behavior, Kody had lost many friends. But had his anger pushed him to do something unthinkable this time? To find out more about what transpired between Kody and Michaela and how their relationship changed after they broke up, the investigators talked to her best friend.
You were at track practice with her on the 3rd? Okay. Was anything unusual going on?
The only thing Michaela was talking about was she had her phone with her and she was saying that Cody Patten had been texting her. That was the only thing that was weird.
Why was it weird?
Because they usually don't talk because they don't really like each other.
Okay. Was she bothered by these texts all of a sudden?
She just seemed annoyed by it. Like, why would he want to bother her at all?
What about Cody? Do you know him very well?
So Toni is all of a sudden texting her. You know, and that seems odd because they don't really get along. That's a red flag.
A little bit.
Did he ever talk about Michaela?
Only how annoying she was. Her voice just annoys me and stuff like that.
All right, let's just posit a scenario now. And I'm sure the investigators at this point are thinking the same thing. So Tony's texting her for whatever reason. And maybe they're getting into a text war or something. And that bothers Cody. So then Cody is going to take action. And that's when he stalks her at the end of the day. So now we have the two of them kind of in concert. Or do we?
Contrary to the impression Kody had given to the investigators during his interview, the reality was quite different regarding his relationship with Michaela. Both could not stand each other and were hardly cordial. Adding to this, the friend also disclosed a concerning offer that Kody made to Michaela on the day she mysteriously disappeared.
Do you know what she meant by randomly texted her out of nowhere?
Because her and Cody don't text. They don't even talk to each other.
Okay, so it was real unusual to be getting texts from Cody. Okay. Why didn't she have a ride that day?
Well, she didn't ask for a ride, but normally that's why I stay, is so that she can get a ride home.
Given their history, it was strange for Kody to reach out to Michaela for help. Why had he offered her a ride back home? The investigating team interviewed Michaela's boyfriend, Javier, again to find out if he knew anything about the messages or the reason behind Cody's sudden change in behavior.
What about Cody?
I don't know, that was the first time she talked. Well, he started bothering her in 3 or 2 months.
Okay. You say bothering her. 2 months prior, what was going on?
He would annoy her and try to talk to her and say hi and text her and stuff, and she'd tell him leave me alone. I don't want you in my life. I'm done with you. And I guess he didn't get it. And after she told him that, he stopped texting her and trying to talk to her for 2 or 3 months. And then after that, this happened.
Did she tell you about those times, or did you see the texts?
No, she would tell me that she was annoying and that he would bother her. She didn't feel comfortable.
How come? Do you know?
Well, I guess it's because they were dating back in 8th grade or so, and I don't know, he hurt her, he broke her heart.
So, did you see any of the texts that Cody sent to her?
No, she never told me anything.
Okay.
She would just tell me that he would go and visit her, knock at her door at her house and just to say hi and leave and try to talk to her.
Some guys just can't take no for an answer. Some guys can't take rejection. And some guys act out when that happens. And it's just so senseless. Move the fuck on. There's another person out there for you somewhere. Even ugly guys can get ugly girls. I mean, angry guys can get angry women. I mean, there's somebody out there for you. I'm kind of kidding around about that. But there's somebody out there for you. You don't have to, but when you're a teenager, and this happens in adulthood too, everything seems so intense. But when it goes to the next level of, kidnapping somebody and then fucking killing him and then burying him in the goddamn desert, that generally is antisocial behavior.
This is a clear red flag and sounds like obsessive and stalking behavior. In his attempt to mislead the investigation, Kody had deviously fabricated an elaborate lie by pointing towards Javier as a potential suspect in his interview. He had also pretended to show concern for Michaela by building false narratives about seeing her distressed and isolated on campus. Javier's interview also exposes a shocking truth. Toni wasn't the first girl Kody had allegedly assaulted.
Did she ever tell you if Kody ever hurt her physically?
No, she just told me about this one time in 8th grade when they were dating, I guess. She was talking to some of Cody's friends, and I guess they were out in front of her house or something, and I guess he got jealous or something, and he had this little knife, or I guess he accidentally cut her on her left shoulder or something. And
Who told you about that?
she was telling me.
Oh, she told you that? And when did that happen?
Around 8th grade. I'm not sure if it was because she was talking to his friends, or if it was an accident.
Do you know if she told anybody else about that?
No, I'm not sure.
The police's doubts are confirmed with the arrival of the car analysis reports that suggest that the tire tracks and the dust on the car that Kody drove perfectly match the desert where Michaela's body was found. But what rattles the investigators is the deeply unsettling revelation from the DNA samples, which confirmed that Michaela had been in that car on the day she'd been murdered. Armed with this array of compelling evidence, the police set up an interview with Kody to confront his web of lies.
You told us that you thought that the boy she was with at 5:30 was her boyfriend.
Correct.
You gave us a description. However, it's not the same description that you told us, Javier, when you saw her at lunch. They don't match.
No, I said I thought so.
But you didn't say you thought that this boy was her boyfriend because he was wearing the same clothes that he was wearing at lunch. You didn't bother to tell us that. The story's not making sense there. That doesn't make sense.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? If you know him, you know him.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be pretty easy.
But he was facing that way.
As he continues to lie, officers confront him with Michaela's phone records.
See, when you give a lie, and you've got other evidence, like phone evidence, tower evidence, the DNA in the fucking car. I mean, the DNA in the car. She's in the fucking car that he borrows. That's great circumstantial evidence that he was the last one to see her alive. And guess what? The last one to see her alive is the one that probably unalived her.
She didn't call you twice. Mickey didn't call you twice.
That's what I recall.
No. You sent more than 2 text messages to her.
That's what I recall, no.
You sent probably
2 or 3.
5 or 6.
Okay.
Okay? That wasn't mud on Wendy's car. That was dust.
Okay, so what are you getting at?
What I'm getting at is you're not being totally truthful with us.
And we've got plans for the next 30, 40, 50 years of your life.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not. I'm showing you some inconsistencies based upon your own statement and physical evidence that we have found. Okay? You're not being totally truthful with us.
I went puddle bashing.
No, that wasn't mud. I'm telling you. It's dust. It's dust on that back bumper. It's dust on the side of that truck. It's not.
Cody, you should have taken the thing to a nice car wash. You could have him clean out the DNA. You could have him clean out the dust, the not mud.
Okay. I don't know what to tell you.
Kody continues to play innocent and feign ignorance. The officer then presents the car analysis reports and what they found on the school surveillance camera in an attempt to get him to confess.
We found tire impressions at the scene. They match the avalanches.
Fuck! Does it get any better for Kody? I mean, gee, buddy. Okay, DNA in the car, tire prints match, dust, not mud on the car, and we got you on surveillance stalking the shit out of her. Sounds kind of like Murder 1.
Tires, or Trailblazer, I'm sorry.
Okay.
It shows the width is the same, the wheelbase is the same, tire pattern is the same. That Trailblazer took her to that scene.
So you're saying I did it?
Bing, 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 bing. Kody, you get a prize. Fucking A. What a dumb shit.
It's interesting that he's not getting upset here. An innocent person would be in disbelief or feel anger over being falsely accused of killing someone. Kody's response is much more in line with someone who is guilty. Remember, for a guilty person, it's important that the police like them, because people are more likely to believe someone that they like over someone they dislike.
Well, I don't really want to disagree with what they're saying here. Explore with us. You can't say guilty people do this and guilty people do that, or innocent people do that. And any kind of testimony about that certainly would not be allowed into evidence.
While an innocent person can afford to be angry and emotional when wrongly accused, a guilty person needs to keep their cool so they can still try to look good to others.
One of the things I do tell my clients, if they're going to testify in a serious case where they're being accused of some horrific shit, you have to be outraged by the allegations and emotional. Because if I'm fucking innocent, God damn it, I didn't do this. Why would they make this up? I have no idea why they would make this up, but I can tell you this: I did not do this. You need to have that emotion, that passion. Otherwise, if you're like, well, yeah, I kind of didn't do it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're going down with the ship or without the ship.
And continue to talk their way out of the liar's loop. It's much harder to remain likable and convincing if they allow themselves to get angry or too upset.
I think maybe you're not telling us the truth about what happened. I'm telling you what the physical evidence is showing us.
Oh, you got all that evidence. Yeah, evidence. What? Oh, you mean I'm fucked?
All of it's pointing to you, okay? Now, the issue we have is the scenario of what happened with her. And I'll be frank with you, it doesn't look good.
What do you mean?
Well, I'll tell you, the video from the school indicates to us that you were waiting for her, okay? Waiting for her to get done with track, okay?
I wasn't.
And that's why you walked by the girls' locker room 3 times. And you walked...
That's evidence of premeditation. It just is. And it's strong evidence of premeditation.
3 minutes before she left the locker room. That's exactly what happened. It's all on video, okay?
Yeah, I told you I was in the school.
No, you told us you weren't in the school. You told us you weren't in the school at that time frame.
You didn't give me a time frame.
I did. You gave me the time frame that you were...
See, now he's gaslighting a little bit, saying, no, you did this. No, I did that. And here's the thing. It doesn't matter what anybody fucking says. It's all on tape anyway, right? So it's like, okay, you told me this. Well, let's play back the tape.
In the school.
So I can remember.
Earlier, Cody used selective memory statements, and here we see them in action when he's confronted. Now he can deny withholding information because he already stated that I could remember.
I mean, let's say you sit here with someone with a gun to your head and
listen to me.
Remember everything.
Listen to me.
Nobody's got a gun to his fucking head. And if this was death penalty state, however, he'd probably have a noose around his neck and not too damn long.
You have given more than enough detail right up until 5 o'clock and right after 7 o'clock. But between 5 and 7, you've got a serious lack of detail. And I think I know why.
Okay, why?
Because that was the time she disappeared. And that was the time she died.
When you're litigating a case like this, you can look at these conclusory statements by the officer and they're not admissible. His responses are, but if you have a long list of shit that the cop is saying and really no answers from the defendant, you move to have those stricken because it's hearsay.
You were involved.
I wasn't involved in her death.
I know you were now, okay?
How do you know I was now?
Because you basically told us you were. Now this looks really bad for you, but I think we can get past this.
I think we can get past this. Just a disorderly conduct. If you just admit to it, give me a fucking break. How can you get past this? Would he, and you're dealing with an unsophisticated who thinks he is smarter than the cops.
Would just explain to us what happened.
I did not touch Michaela.
Listen, we know you have before.
Have before what?
We got witnesses.
Witnesses say what?
Well, about you grabbing her and choking Toni, and we know you do that. We know you have some anger issues.
Me and Toni's issues are different.
Yeah.
Don't sit here and try to play on me and stuff.
I'm not playing on you. I'm telling you the truth.
Well, you're trying to twist my past to make it fit the scenario.
I'm not twisting anything. Listen, you can either tell us what happened and be truthful with us, or we're just going to have to go with what we got.
I mean, yeah, just tell us you did it so we don't have to rely on all this circumstantial bullshit anyway. They have a really strong circumstantial evidence without his testimony, without his statement admitting his confession. But really be nice to have that confession. Really be nice to just tidy this case up into a nice little neat murder one ball. You know, we have a new sponsor, Step One, high performance underwear. Let's say for the sake of argument, you're on the golf course and you've been playing with your buddies, and guess what? Not only is it hot outside, but you've been cheating up a storm. They come to call you on the carpet for, well, you're not going to sweat with these. So you're nice and dry, and guess what? That gives you more confidence. You know, with this viscose fabric derived from organic bamboo, you're cool, calm, and collected. I wear them all the time. They've got these panels. They get the panels so you don't chafe. They got the material so you don't sweat. And they're comfy. I wore them for 8,500 miles on my motorcycle trip. I'm going to Jackson Hole here shortly. I'm going to be wearing them everywhere I go. If you put in the code Bruce Rivers as you go to checkout, when you get like 6 to 12 pair, get at least that, you'll get 25% off. Now, ladies, Christmas is around the corner. You get these for your guy, he is going to love you. And he probably already does, but he's going to love you more. Get Step One. Step One, get some.
Okay? And I don't want to do that because it's going to make you look very bad right now. Okay? I need you.
I love it when cops do this. Okay, look, you know, it's going to look so much better to the judge when you admit to doing some heinous shit. I mean, fucking A. It doesn't help you at all.
To be truthful with me. All these mistruths, all these untruthful statements, they are. Okay? You have been intentionally vague about several details. Or they're completely false statements.
I haven't falsified anything.
You did. Okay?
I haven't. You're not me. I have not falsified anything.
But you did. Okay? That wasn't mud on that truck. It was dust. Dust that matches out at the gravel pit. Okay?
Overwhelmed by the undeniable evidence arrayed against him, Cody eventually buckles and changes his statement about his last meeting with Michaela.
Damn it, Cody. I thought you had more in you. I thought you had more persuasive skills to tell these cops that, look, it wasn't me. But I guess it was you, Cody.
And makes a shocking revelation.
Can we turn it off? And I'll tell you 2 things about me and her. It's nothing that probably has anything to do with it. It's personal.
I understand that, okay? And I understand it might be embarrassing to you or it might be very intimate to you, but we can't, okay? Because we have to be accurate here.
You know what? You want it recorded. If you're a defendant, you want what you're saying recorded. You don't want to have the cops to have the ability to say you said something when you didn't say it. So you want everything recorded.
Because if we turn it off and then we say you said something, the judge is going to go, well, why'd you turn it off? Unless you were going to lie to us about what happened.
Well, we turned it off because we had to beat the confession out of it. And that's what people think sometimes.
You know,
the reason I started talking with Michaela is she told me at lunch today at school that she loved me. She just wanted to start talking again. And that's what all our phone calls and stuff for. And
who believes that? Do you believe that? Nobody fucking believes that all of a sudden Michaela, who hated you before, and all of a sudden says, oh, I love you too. Nobody believes that. Yeah, and so you love her. She loves you so much that she's going to help you with some welding materials. It doesn't fly.
She said she wanted a ride home, and I said, okay, that's fine. So I gave her a ride home. I loaded what was left of my parts into the car and gave her a ride to the house.
Now, wouldn't she have texted him back? I mean, he texted her a bunch. She didn't text him back. He called her. I don't know if she answered the phone.
I dropped her off, and I went home. And she was texting me, and I texted her back, and she said she wanted to hang out. I said, okay. So I went down, and I left the car at my house, and I just walked down there, and we were talking, and then I went back home. Because her mom had called her or something and was wondering where she was at. And she didn't want her mom to know that we were talking again and her boyfriend to find out. I didn't want to cause anything with Toni. I mean, I'd never cheated. I just was talking to her. And she said she wanted to go out driving around. So we went out to the gravel pit.
We went to the... Okay, now he's got himself at the gravel pit. Okay. Now, Cody, I just had so much higher expectations in that view. So, and then she wanted me to bury up to her neck. I mean, you know, and so what was I going to do? Tell her no?
Yeah.
So, do you remember the video we did with the axe murder mom where the kid says, Yeah, I went and got the axe out of the shed, but I didn't use it. Oh, yeah, and I sharpened the shit out of the axe, but, I mean, so now she's in the car, she's at the gravel pit.
And she started arguing with me and stuff. And
That bitch, how could she just, that's a death sentence right there in Cody's world.
And she was just let me out, and I let her out, and
Just let me out. Okay, just let me out. What does that tell you? That tells you she's afraid, and that tells you that he's doing something to make her feel unsafe. He's really putting this in a light that's probably accurate.
Another truck out there, that was it. And I turned around and left.
When presented with evidence he can't deny, Cody now integrates those pieces into his new story. He's careful to mention that there was another truck there to throw suspicion on someone else, a tactic he's been using since his first interview.
But the problem is there aren't other tire tracks that match.
Guilty people will often keep volunteering information to look extra helpful or honest, and to give the police another suspect other than themselves to look at. Officers are definitely going to see red flags and are going to dig further.
And that was the last time I saw her. And then everybody told me she went missing, and I got scared because I knew people would blame me.
There was a big step, Cody. That's much closer to the truth.
Come on, Cody. You're almost there. You're almost there, Cody.
You're not telling us anything we don't know.
Last time I saw her.
You're doing the right thing now.
But I never laid a hand on it.
Bullshit. Who believes that? Nobody.
Cody, there are no other footprints or tire tracks out there. Just yours.
I don't. These are my shoes. I got boots. I got mountain shoes. This is it. I did not kill Michaela Stanton.
I don't think you did it. I don't think you planned on it. I don't think you intended to.
I didn't.
I think she got hurt, and I think you panicked.
I didn't do anything. I simply got pissed off and left.
I simply got pissed off. So here's what really happened. She fell as she was stabbing herself in the neck, hit her head on a rock, and then buried herself. That's what happened. It wasn't me. Fuck.
No, I didn't do nothing. She just said, let her out. Let her out. Where'd you find?
I'm pissed off, and I won't let her out of the fucking car. Sounds like kidnapping to me. Jesus. Which is murder one.
About Toni. She wanted me to leave Toni for her.
Bullshit. Nobody believes that. That's the other thing that narcissists do, is they make themselves look better. When you see anybody who's just aggrandizing, oh, I'm the best this, I'm the best that, that's exactly what he's doing there.
I said no, because I'm not going to leave Toni.
Oh, damn it. Oh, just leave Toni for me, please. Give me a break.
What changed Thursday? Why did...
I don't know. I've always just said hi to her every once in a while. Never really talked to her ever since Alex left, but she just, one day, she'd been fine with her boyfriend for a while.
What time did you go back to your house and get the Trailblazer?
I don't know.
And then you went to her apartment and picked her up?
I picked her up on the back side of the fence of the road, and then there's a fence, and then there's a trailer parked up right here.
And then you drove straight to the gravel pit?
We went up past the golf course and drew a little dirt road thingy in on the old exit, and then we were just kind of going down that road, and we went out there and we were talking along the way, and she started bringing up Toni, and we just kind of was like, not mad, but just like, I told her, I was like, I'm not going to leave Toni, I don't want to talk about it. I told her, I was like, I really...
Then what are you doing in a car in the gravel pit with this woman? What are you doing there with her? If you're not going to leave Toni, why are you creating a scenario that seems disloyal to Toni?
I appreciate you love me, I really do, but I'm not leaving Toni. And she goes, then let me the f*** out. And I said, what is your problem? And she goes, I'm not going to be around you if you're going to still be with her then. And I said, okay, fine, whatever. Then get the f*** out. She got out, and I peeled out and turned around and left.
Where did she get out?
This just sounds like absolute 100% unmitigated bullshit.
We went past a big tank that's out there a little ways, and that was it.
What side of the road was the tank on?
Right side.
How far past the tank did she get out?
Half a football field.
These little details that he doesn't think are important brings him right to the scene.
Half a football field and a half. I don't know.
Yeah, and it also, if there are no footprints of her in the dirt, which there probably aren't, that's another way to, discredit his story.
That doesn't sound like something you would do, Cody, and just leave her stranded out there. I know she runs track and everything, but that's a long way from town.
When she had texted me, she said not to come back.
That wouldn't be safe for her.
I waited at the top of the thing and then saw her walking towards, so I said whatever, and I left.
What time did she text you to tell you not to come back?
I don't know, maybe 2 minutes after dropping her. And there was a truck out there, so I figured somebody would pick her up and bring her back to town, because it looked like a railroad truck.
What a chivalrous son of a bitch. I mean, honestly, you would leave this young lady out in the middle of fucking nowhere to have some guy in some other truck that didn't exist come pick her up, and who knows who the hell that is. Does that seem safe for her? I mean, Cody's told you more about his character in that little statement alone, that he just is going to leave her at this gravel pit. What the fuck are you doing at a gravel pit anyway?
Cody, that's not the entire truth, but
you know we have your phone records and her phone records.
And we also have the tower records.
The text stopped well before that.
Her text stopped 5 minutes before she leaves the school.
You are on the right track, Cody.
I'm not lying.
You are. You're not being totally truthful.
I didn't kill her.
Cody, you are on the right track, okay? And you've made a huge step.
I did not kill her.
As Cody's will begins to break, the inconsistencies within his statement become increasingly obvious.
And mind you, at any time he could say, I want a lawyer. I don't want to talk to you. And then they probably would just arrest him at that point. But he still thinks he's probably going home.
At first, he admitted to dropping Michaela off at her house, but then he changed his story by sharing that he'd driven her to the gravel pit and left her in the desert after a heated argument. As the officer rapidly identifies the flaws in his fabricated tales, Cody eventually crumbles under the weight of the pressure.
I just want to see my family.
What are you going to tell them? Are you going to tell them the truth about what happened?
Oh, when we can arrange that through a video visit. You'll be in, you'll have some nice new flip-flops, and we got this orange jumpsuit for you. And then you can talk to your folks through a video visit. That's fine.
I don't want to, Brenda.
I know you want to. This isn't easy. Personally, I think they need to know, okay? Because you're their son. They need to know the truth.
You want us to help you tell them? I just want to be with them for a little bit.
I understand that.
Because now he knows he's fucked.
And we'll do our best to make that happen.
On the brink of uncovering the truth, the interrogators decides to take a gamble by summoning Cody's father to the station, hopeful that he might assist in eliciting a confession from his son. A short while after the officers leave the father and son alone in the room, Cody breaks down.
You gotta start fixing this now, as much as you can. It's not about us anymore.
Imagine being, first of all, imagine being the parents of the person that was killed. I mean, it's just, death of a child, no matter how old the child is, we're supposed to die before our kids. That's just the way it's supposed to happen. But imagine also the angst of the father coming in to talk to your son, knowing that he fucking killed a beautiful young lady. I mean, that's tough duty for a father.
What you did is heinous, Cody. No, I know you want to
I know. It's the first admission that we have.
be with your family, and I want to be with you. There's something wrong, man. I want to be near you as much as I can. I don't want to abandon you at all. Okay? We gotta do what's right for Michaela as well. You've got to go all the way with this. You need to put it to bed as quickly as you can. You need to get out of this town. You know what that means?
You need to get out of this town? How are you getting out of this town? You're not leaving that fucking cop shop.
You've got to just do what they need you to do. And you know what I'm saying? You've got to do a written statement or whatever it is they need so that this can be done. Right now, we are getting our answers. They need their answers.
Okay, this is a dad who's not sophisticated in the legal community, because if this were my son, I'd probably yell at him and I'd say, don't say another fucking word to the cops. We'll get you a lawyer. And then, but he's fucked anyway, you know. But just on both sides of this coin, it's just tragic to watch your children meet their demise. And you got two children here who are meeting their demise, or one has met their demise and the other one is meeting his demise.
Yeah, the family needs their answers. I don't want anything to happen to you guys, Tony. Why, you know what I'm saying? Nothing's gonna happen to us tonight. I mean, Jesus Christ.
That is another fake concern of Cody's. I don't want anything to happen to you guys. Bullshit. You care only about your own ass.
It's that, man. This community can't do anything else to me. We have to fix that. Do you understand that? You did something that I know. You've got.
I know. You did something. I know. That's admissible. That's an admission.
Think about it. I know.
In his confession, Cody reveals the horrifying details of what had really transpired that night. There's something not quite right with his story, though the truth would eventually come to light.
All right, Cody. You know, I know you told your dad a lot of what happened. To the question we've been asking, tell us what happened.
Leaving from driving out there, and she started bringing up about how we should get together and all this stuff. And I said, I'm not going to leave Tony. She started getting upset. And I started getting upset too. And I said, so I'm going to have to stop asking.
That's bullshit again.
So I'm going to have to stop asking. And then she said, stop the car, and we got out. And I said, what the hell are you doing? I was like, at least let me take you back to town. And she goes, no, and started yelling at me and pounding on my chest and stuff. And I was just kind of pushing her away at first, and then she kind of hit me, just kind of clipped me on the head, and it kind of hurt, but I just really, a good shove, and she fell back and hit the back bumper of the car, and she had moved for a minute. And I started saying, Mickey, it's not funny, get up. I'm sorry I pushed you, it's not funny anymore. She started coming around, so I got down by her side and helped out, and I said, are you okay? And she goes, where am I at?
This is just bullshit. This is just unmitigated nonsense. Remember what the medical examiner said? Blunt trauma to the throat?
I said, Mickey, come on, you were the same place we was. We were fighting. She stood up and she goes, you're trying to hurt me, huh? And she starts yelling, and I was like, you're crazy. I'm not trying to hurt you. All I did was push you. And she continues to start pounding on my chest. Finally I said, Michaela, enough. And I shoved her pretty hard, and she fell down and hit her head, and she just laid there and was looking at the sky and like.
You know, if there are stab wounds or any kind of other trauma that doesn't fit with what you're saying. You're just a dumb shit, Cody.
Her eyes started to turn black. She started to
her face started to turn black. That sounds like what happens when you're choking the fuck out of somebody.
Shake and seize, and I looked at where she was at. There's this big rock she had hit her head on, and I tried to pick her up and put her in the car, and she kept moving, and I tried to check her pulse and stuff. And
you didn't think to call 911 and call an ambulance?
I couldn't get anything, and she was flopping, and so I had the shovel from prying on my car, and I hit her, tried to hit her on her head, trying to just.
I hit her on the head trying to knock her out? Gee, that sounds like you're a failed attempt to render first aid with a shovel. Fuck.
Just knock her out, and it hit right here, and it broke up pretty bad. She started making this awful sound. So I took the dagger thingy and pushed it right here, and the end of it hit her chin, and it split it open, and she started gurgling more, making this sound, and she would have stopped, so I pushed it right here, and then she stopped. I didn't know what to do. I was going to call my dad, but I knew he would freak out.
Your dad would freak out that you just murdered somebody? What an... You'd think he would be more understanding. Fucking A. God damn it. You know, I'm telling you, there's never a good idea to put your hands on a woman. Just ever, 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 ever.
I tried to take her clothes off to put her in the little grave thing I dug because I figured her body would decompose faster without clothes.
God, was that your science class talking there, Cody? What the fuck?
So I covered her up and I took the clothes over to the gravel pit area and burned them, and I couldn't get the pants undone, and I didn't want to disrespect her, so I put her sweater over.
I didn't want to disrespect her. Don't you think that bashing her in the fucking head and neck and throat with a shovel and making sure she's dead is kind of a form of disrespect?
Over her.
This is an interesting line he's drawing here. He claims he didn't want to disrespect her, but has just killed her. It's clear he's trying to paint himself in a better light, but it's not working.
I panicked. I just covered it up really quick and put bushes over it and left. I sat there for like 2 hours before I went and got Toni. I cried my brains out. I was so scared.
So he just implicated Toni, who has already talked to the cops about, I don't know anything.
I just walked out and cleaned myself up and wiped the shovel off in the dirt.
Even while recounting what he did to Michaela, Cody talks about how scared he was. He only places emphasis on himself. He doesn't feel bad that he just brutally ended someone's life and left her in the desert. He doesn't express remorse for doing this.
And these people with these antisocial personality disorders or narcissistic personality disorders, they're incapable of empathy. Just absolutely incapable. It's all about me. You know, poor me, woe is me, blah, 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 fucking blah.
He's just scared for himself. This is classic self-centered thinking associated with antisocial personality disorder.
See, I haven't seen this. We're on the same page.
I went and got Toni. She asked what was wrong, and I said nothing. We went and got food. Then we went to my cousin's.
Now, you said you cut her on the neck?
Yes, sir.
And that was with the shovel?
Yeah. I think it looks like that.
The blade part?
Yeah, I tried to go like that, and it didn't work, and that's when I pulled the...
It's an E-tool, an entrenching tool, a military shovel. And when you fold it in half, it's got like a pokey spike on it.
I mean, I didn't want to disrespect her, but I just thought it was necessary to repeatedly stab her with this spike on the shovel.
On the opposite end of the blade.
Yeah,
shovel.
I just went like that.
Shovel blade.
And that's when it like made this pop sound, and that's when she really made a horrible sound, but I can't get out of my head.
Good. I'm glad that's in your fucking head for the rest of your goddamn life.
My dad sitting there crying. It sounded the exact same. I think I'm gonna be sick.
Cody's chilling admission of Michaela's cold-blooded murder leaves everyone stunned into silence. However, even with his confession, the detectives identify that certain aspects of his story seem out of place.
How'd the zip tie get on her arm? What happened there?
I was just gonna zip tie her up and try and put her in the car and take her out to the dump and just dump her out there, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I just put it on and I just sat there. I screamed.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was so angry and so sad. I didn't know what to do. I sat there. I was like, going like this on it. And I said, why didn't you just listen to me?
Why didn't you just listen to me? You know, that is a common refrain. You know, I wouldn't have hit her if she just would have fucking listened. Give me a break. That's...
You said you tried to take her clothes off, but her sweatshirt was still on her. And I noticed the sleeves, little bands, was still on her wrist. How'd you try and get her clothes off? Did you try and
The
cut
end
them
of the
off?
shovel, it's got a serrated edge on it.
Okay.
And I was trying to cut it with that, and it kept getting caught, so I just cut it, and then I pulled it. She was sitting on her arms, and I just was trying to pull them, and then when it tore one of them, I just panicked, and I just started going like that, trying to cut them.
You said you started a fire and
I just burned her shirts.
anything else?
Her shirts and her sports bra thingy, and that was it.
The police arrest Cody soon after his confession. Based on the statements gathered from Michaela's friends, they suspect that Cody may have wanted to get back together with Michaela, but killed her after she'd rejected him. But despite all the evidence corroborating Cody's confession, something seemed amiss. There was a gap in the narrative that prompted police to believe that there was more beneath the surface waiting to be uncovered. Following Cody's arrest, he spoke to his father over the phone and it appears he isn't aware these calls are recorded.
That happens so much with dumb shits. When they say it's recorded, when you make the call, you don't realize because you're a dumb shit that it's recorded. Fuck.
Though he gave a glimpse of his temper during interrogation, it's in these calls that the other side of Kody truly shows.
This has a ripple effect, okay? We just happen to be the ones that are closest to you, and it's not easy. I can tell you that. It's not easy.
It's not easy for me. I have nobody. You guys got each other. I've got nobody to turn to. I mean, I could call you guys, but it still doesn't do it justice.
You can call Bubba. Just turn to Bubba in your cell. He'll help you.
Cody, I'm having a hard time with this conversation. I mean, you know, what about Michaela's decisions? What about, you know?
You don't think about it? I'm thinking about it every goddamn day, and you don't know how hard it is. If that's all you want to bring up, then fine. I think about
That's all you want to bring up. This person that I murdered, fine. Fine, give me a fucking break. Oh, if you're going to bring that up again. Jesus Christ.
fine. I think about it every goddamn day. And it's hard on me, too.
Cody, I never said it wasn't.
Well, you bring it up like it's something that, like, I don't...
I'm telling you, my son's in there for fucking murder one, and he's yelling at me. I'm not taking another goddamn call from him.
Think about it like it's nothing to me. It's my best friend, and you know what? It's a fucking mistake that I have to live with. It's hard enough to try and call you guys without breaking down on the phone every goddamn time. But it's hard enough to sit here and hear you say that day, and then now you say that it's like I don't think about what's right for her. I have nightmares every goddamn day. I have nerve feelings. I just don't want to be here anymore. And you know what? I'm sorry that it's hard for you guys. I tried being the glue to this goddamn family since I don't even can't remember.
Cody, stop. You are a part of this family.
I don't feel like it. It takes this to happen for me to feel like I'm a part of the family.
Really? It takes for this to happen for me to feel like I'm part of this family? You're such a victim, Cody. I hope you're going to be okay in prison for the rest of your natural-born life.
Oh, you never take the goddamn time to sit down and ask me how I feel. But all I wanted to do was sit there and feel like I love you for you and you love me.
I'm sorry, Cody.
It's not your fault. We all do our part. Just know I love you guys. And I'll call you later tonight when everything's calmed down. I love you guys.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I love you guys. I'll call you tonight.
Kody also spoke to Toni, giving us an interesting look into the dynamics of their relationship.
Say you're picking up your mom.
I am. She just came out, so it was different from mom's not.
Protect yourself every day, okay? No matter what happens.
Because there might be some guy with a shovel that tries to take you to a gravel pit.
I do too.
Why does it seem like you guys have an attitude or something?
I'm not.
Well, then talk to me.
You know, I see this all the time. You get a guy that's in custody, and he takes an attitude with the people on the outside. I mean, how do you have the fucking balls to do that? Because guess what? You don't have to answer that fucking phone. You just don't have to answer it.
I can't.
It doesn't matter anymore. It's all public information. The fucking news. Everybody was there. Are you gonna talk to me or not? Because if not, I'm just gonna hang up and stop wasting my goddamn time.
I'm so upset.
Why? Because you have so much to do with your time? Or do you have an infinite amount of time and you should just be grateful anybody's fucking talking to you?
How am I supposed to not be upset?
Be strong.
Tony, talk to me.
I don't know what to say.
Maybe you can say, oh, you know what, being this might be the last time I talk to you. Oh, you know, thank you for everything. I love you, you know. I'm glad you pushed me through my life and got me this far. Anything? Not just be strong.
He's complaining about what she's saying. And he's in there for murder one. The temerity. I mean, I wouldn't be talking to anybody. First of all, I wouldn't have done this. Okay, let's just go right there. I don't have a mean bone in my body.
Be strong.
Well, I do appreciate everything.
The investigators' hunch about there being more to this twisted story is finally confirmed 3 weeks after Cody's arrest, when Toni meets with his attorney and makes a shocking request.
Can I ask a question real quick? Sure. Will you guys be able to represent me?
Depending on what you're going to say, we may or may not be able to. If your interest conflict with Cody, if we are not able to represent you, we will get counsel for you.
They can't represent her because they're representing Cody. It's a conflict. You know, a lawyer can only have one master.
Okay.
The question is, why is Toni looking into getting legal counsel? You'll recall that Cody didn't mention her having anything to do with what happened to Michaela. Yet Toni has been hiding something. It seems she doesn't realize her conversation with the attorney is being recorded.
They aren't always recorded, but it's really smart of that lawyer to record this.
What happened? What caused you to leave?
Had gotten a text saying that he had her and she wanted to talk, but he wanted me with her.
Okay. You got a text from who?
From Cody.
You got a text from Cody?
That he had her and that he would like me to come with.
Okay. When he said that he had her, who did he have?
Michaela.
Had you talked about that earlier?
No.
What do you think he meant by he had her?
Well, because I knew they wanted to talk, but I didn't know for sure when or about what exactly.
What do you think he might want to talk to Michaela about?
She wanted to get back together with him and everything, but he didn't seem like he had an interest in her and he didn't want that.
Okay. And he wanted you to come along?
Yes.
Okay. So what happened after you got the text?
I told him where I was and to go ahead and come get me, and I would go with them.
Okay.
So this makes her an accessory before the fact. So basically, part and parcel of what's going on.
So what happened then after you took back?
He came and got me, and we went straight out to the gravel pit where she died.
Okay. When he came and got you, who was in the car?
Him and Michaela.
Where was Michaela sitting?
In the back.
And where did you sit?
In the front seat.
Okay. After you got in the car, what happened?
We decided to go drive around, and then Michaela had said she didn't want anyone to see us talking, so we decided to go out towards the gravel pit.
Whose idea was it to go to the gravel pit?
It was kind of a group effort because we kept talking about where do you want to go or whatever. We just started kind of heading out that way to get out of town.
What was the emotion at that time? Was anybody mad at anybody? Were people friendly? What was the emotion?
It was kind of tense because she was a little bit upset, but we were just trying to talk to her and everything and let her know that we didn't want to cause any problems or have any problems. We wanted to work everything out.
Okay. And what was it that you had to work out?
Having Cody let her know that he didn't want anything to do with her, like with the relationship.
Okay. So what happened then?
We kind of just went out to the desert, driving around out by the gravel pit, and she got really upset and told us to let her out.
And what did she get upset about?
She just kept saying, well, I'm tired of your BS and everything, and so we didn't want her to be more upset, so we did as she asked, stopped the car, and she got out. Cody had got out to talk to her for just a second, and I kind of saw her like yelling at him and everything, and like pushing him and everything, and then I looked away just for like a split second, and then heard like a loud thud on the car, so I had got out to see what happened.
The attorneys continued to listen, utterly absorbed in shock, while Toni accidentally implicates herself in the crime.
Now, one would think that she's seeking legal advice, and so it would be protected by attorney-client privilege. But he just told her that they can't represent her. So he's not her lawyer.
Michaela was on the ground, and then I had asked Cody what happened, and he just said that she kept pushing me and everything, so I kind of pushed her off to get her off of me, and she lost her balance or tripped on something, I can't remember exactly, and he hit her face on the car.
Did you look at it?
A little bit.
What did you see?
Just that she was on the ground, and she wasn't really moving at that point.
Did you tell us she was breathing?
I couldn't really tell at that point. I her not moving or anything. So, we're freaking out. We didn't know what to do. And
How about call 911? How about say, hey, this gal here just hit the bumper and she's unconscious.
I got out the shovel and started digging a hole, and then it kind of went downhill from there. I wasn't really
Sort of went downhill from there.
thinking, and so we basically started kicking her and punching her. And
So I was kicking her and punching her. Guess what? Kicking and punching her, that puts her part and parcel of the whole thing. You've heard the old phrase, in for a penny, in for a pound. So any action that she takes aiding Kody puts her on the hook for the whole thing, just like she did it herself.
Kind of on like her rib area and like the side of her face.
Punching her, was she laying face up or face down?
She was kind of laying down, kind of trying to kind of sit up and everything.
This sounds more to me like they set her up to take her out there and beat her ass. And then it went a little too far, and they said, fuck, we're going to get in trouble for this. And then that's when they killed her.
Very conscious of what was going on.
She was trying to sit up?
At that point, she kind of was. And then I remember us taking a shovel and hitting her.
Where did you hit her on her body with the shovel?
Kind of in the back area.
Did you hit her with the flat part of the shovel or the edge part of the shovel?
I believe the flat part. At that point, she was just kind of laying there. She wasn't moving. And so we moved her to the grave. We were kind of standing there deciding what do we do. But I remember like putting down her legs and he would slit her throat.
I remember holding her legs and him slitting her throat. This is a crime of passion. And this is murder one, and she's just as guilty as he is. And they set her up. They set her up to do this.
Like, cut her throat. Who cut her throat? It was both of us.
You heard that right.
Think about that. They're angry with her for whatever reason.
Not only did both Toni and Kody attack Michaela, but they both had an opportunity to save her and chose not to.
How did you do that?
With a knife.
Whose knife?
It was a knife that Cody always held on to. It was always with him, no matter what.
Okay. And who used the knife?
At first it was him.
And then was it you?
Yes.
Why did you take over with the knife?
I wasn't thinking. I had taken it from him to go, just to take it from him and everything.
Did anybody cut it through with the shovel, or was it just the knife?
I remember those shovels sitting there, but I can't remember. After that, she wasn't really breathing or anything. We kind of just stood there and were crying because we didn't know what we had just done. We were freaking out. We weren't in the right mind to know what to do with anything.
What started as a witness account soon morphed into the bone-chilling confession of a murder. Toni's confession also dispelled the doubts about the murder weapon, confirming it as a knife, contrary to Kody's earlier claim of it being a shovel in his confession. Kody's attorney asks one last question about Toni's motive in taking Michaela's life.
Were you mad at Michaela?
I guess I was kind of frustrated, but I wasn't mad at her.
Okay, so what happened?
All I remember is it was kind of dark by that point, and we had basically buried her, and they went to the other gravel pit on the other side of town.
Okay, and what did you do there?
We burnt everything. I think there was a bag of things that we burned. I couldn't tell you exactly what was in there. After that, went to McDonald's to get drinks.
Because, that's what you would do. After you murder somebody, you go to McDonald's.
What wasn't clear was why Toni had admitted to her involvement despite Kody never implicating her in his confession. It's impossible to know, but Toni may have confessed to her role in the crime, hoping that she could save her fiancé from the death penalty. Following the unexpected development, Kody's legal team promptly informs the investigators about Toni's admission of guilt, leading to her subsequent arrest. Investigators soon recover all of Michaela's possessions that Kody and Toni admitted to burning and burying in the desert after killing her, along with the shovel. At this stage, the case seemed almost ready to be closed. Nevertheless, a lingering uneasiness remained. Despite Kody and Toni characterizing Michaela's murder as spontaneous and spur of the moment, there was a nagging suspicion that something about this narrative just didn't sit quite right. While the investigating team tried to do their best to find that missing piece, in a shocking twist, Kody turns on Toni when he allows his legal team to employ a private investigator to gather additional evidence against Toni in a bid to secure a reduced sentence for himself. In a pivotal breakthrough, the private detective uncovers the elusive missing element. Inside a box found in Toni's bedroom, the investigators discover that Toni was obsessed with Michaela and feared that Kody would leave her for Michaela. Several diary entries exposed Toni's deep-seated insecurities and exposed her extreme hatred towards Michaela. One entry read, "We might as well break up so that he can get back together with her. She lives closer to him." While another stated, "I know in my heart he doesn't love me. I just feel that if I didn't get in between Kody and Mickey, they would still be together and none of this would have ever happened." In a final twist, this facade of true love crumbles into a climax that can only be labeled as the last act of betrayal. While Toni and Kody both admit to the murder, none claim responsibility for using the knife on Michaela's throat, and instead blame it on each other. No one can confirm what really happened in that desert between the three on the evening of Michaela's death. However, Toni's diary entries cement her motive to end Michaela's life, and it's been speculated that she may have instigated Kody to do so. Given the evidence, investigators believe that the pair bound Michaela's wrists and then proceeded to take her life. Eventually, Toni takes a plea deal for a lesser charge of second-degree murder. She testifies in court against Kody and claims that he abused her and actually forced her to commit the heinous crime, stating that she only hit Michaela with the shovel because Kody told her to do it. In May 2012, Kody Patten pled guilty to the first-degree murder charge of Michaela Constanzo and was sentenced to life without parole, while Toni Fratto was sentenced to life with a possibility of parole after 18 years. As of August 2018, Kody was incarcerated in Ely State Prison in White Pine County, Nevada. On February 24th of 2021, Toni was denied parole a decade after Michaela's tragic death. Her next parole hearing is in May 2024.
So that's a lovely reaction to this horrific murder scene. And I think it's a good lesson in checking your anger and checking your jealousy. I mean, she got set up. She got set up to be killed. She eliminated because for no reason at all. For no reason, a young lady lost her life. Just no reason. She didn't do anything to anybody. And even if she did, she didn't deserve the death penalty. So I don't know what. Sometimes I'm at a loss for words in certain cases, and this is just such a cold killing, and it is 100% murder one. So we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board certified criminal defense lawyer. You feel free to subscribe to our channel because it helps. Make sure you sign up for Instagram and Facebook and sign up for Patreon. And make sure you check out our sponsors because our sponsors are awesome. Step One and eSign.com. We'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. 23-hour lockdown, police is at my God.